rags allowed," my brother Liam barked, barring me from Dad's gala, unaware I was Next Gen's trillion-dollar founder. Until my billionaire investor strode in, bowed, and said, "Alex Vanguard, I didn't know Victor was your father." The fallout would change us forever. The screech of tires and the sickening crunch of metal against my Honda Civic sent my heart into my throat. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white as the car lurched toward the cliff's edge, the Napa Valley hills blurring into a green smear outside my window. Headlights blinded me from behind, and another impact slammed my head against the headrest. This wasn't an accident. It was an ambush. Someone wanted me dead, and I had a sinking feeling it was tied to the secret I'd been guarding for years. I, Cassandra Cass Thornton, was the hidden mastermind behind Next Gen Innovations, a trillion-dollar quantum AI empire. My family, obsessed with their San Francisco elite status, had no clue. They thought I was a broke coder scraping by in a world of thrift stores and instant noodles. Tonight, at my father's 65th birthday gala, I planned to test their shallow values one last time before ripping the veil off my success. But as my car skidded closer to the ravine, I realized the stakes were higher than I'd ever imagined. I slammed my foot on the brake, the tires screaming against the asphalt, but the black SUV behind me didn't relent. Its grille loomed in my my rearview mirror, a relentless predator. My pulse pounded in my ears. I didn't have a weapon, no backup, just my wits, and a car that was no match for this beast. The cliff's edge was 30 feet away, the river below glinting like a dark promise in the moonlight. I had seconds to act. With a desperate twist of the wheel, I swerved left, scraping the guardrail, sparks flying. The SUV misjudged, overshooting slightly, giving me a split-second window. I floored the gas, my Honda roaring as I pulled away from the edge, but the SUV was back on me in an instant, its engine growling like a rabid animal. This wasn't just a hit and run. The precision, the timing, it was a professional job. My mind raced. Who knew I was heading to the gala? My COO, Rachel Wynn, had warned me about a mole in Next Gen, someone leaking my identity as Alex Vanguard, the pseudonym that shielded me from corporate vultures. Was this their move to silence me before I could expose them? Or was it something closer, something tied to my father's failing logistics empire which I'd secretly saved from collapse? The SUV rammed me again and my car fishtailed, the rear bumper crumpling. I was out of road and out of time. Instinct took over. I yanked the emergency brake, spun the wheel, and the Honda screeched into a 180-degree turn, facing the SUV head-on. The headlights blinded me, but I caught a glimpse of a masked driver, his eyes cold and unyielding. I didn't think. I acted. I threw open the door, dove onto the pavement, and rolled toward the cliff's edge as the SUV smashed into my car, sending it careening over the side. The crash echoed below, a metallic death knell, but I was already scrambling through the brush, my heart hammering. The SUV stopped, doors slamming as two figures in black emerged, their boots crunching on gravel. I crouched behind a boulder, my breath ragged, my jeans torn from the dive. They were hunting me, and I had no idea why. I pressed myself against the rock, the cold seeping through my sweater. My phone was still in my pocket, but there was no signal out here in the Napa wilderness. I could hear their footsteps, deliberate and unhurried, like predators certain of their prey. My mind flashed to the Gala, the glittering vineyard estate where my family was waiting, oblivious to the fact that their failure daughter was a tech titan fighting for her life. I'd spent years hiding my success, letting them mock my modest lifestyle to see if they'd ever value me for who I was. Now, as the footsteps grew closer, I wondered if that choice would cost me everything. The beam of a flashlight swept over the boulder, and I held my breath, my body trembling. I wasn't just Cass Thornton, the overlooked sister who showed up to family dinners in a beat-up Honda. I was Alex Vanguard, the architect of a quantum AI revolution that had governments and corporations salivating, and some willing to kill to control it. The flashlight beam moved away, and I heard a low voice. "He's here somewhere. Find her." My blood ran cold. They weren't giving up. I had to move. I slipped through the underbrush, my sneakers silent on the damp earth, and made my way toward a cluster of trees. The river below was a distant roar, but it was my only chance. I glanced back, seeing the silhouettes of my pursuers against the moonlight. They were armed, handguns glinting in their hands. I didn't have a weapon, but I had my brain. The same brain that built Next Gen from a cramped Oakland apartment. I could outsmart them. I had to. The trees gave me cover, but a twig snapped underfoot and a shout rang out, "There!" A gunshot cracked, and bark exploded inches from my head. I ducked, my pulse a deafening drumbeat, and sprinted toward the river. The cliff wasn't as steep here, but it was still a 30-foot drop into icy water. Another shot whizzed past, grazing my sleeve, the sting of torn fabric against my skin. No time to think. I leapt, the world falling away as I plunged into the freezing current below. The water hit like 1,000 needles, stealing my breath. I fought to the surface, gasping, the current pulling me downstream. My attackers' flashlights danced on the cliff above, but the darkness and the river's roar hid me. I swam hard, my limbs aching, until I reached a muddy bank and dragged myself out, shivering and battered but alive. My car was gone, my phone waterlogged, but I was still breathing. Whoever wanted me dead had failed, for now. But the question burned in my mind. Was this about Next Gen, or was it personal? I staggered through the woods, my wet clothes clinging to me like a second skin. The Napa Valley Vineyard estate where my father's gala was being held was a few miles away. I could make it on foot, but every rustle in the trees made me flinch, expecting another attack. My family was waiting, sipping champagne in their designer outfits, probably whispering about how I'd flaked out again. They had no idea I'd just survived an assassination attempt. No idea I was the one keeping their world from collapsing. I was 34 years old, and for over a decade, I'd hidden the truth from the people who were supposed to love me. My father, Victor Thornton, a logistics tycoon who'd traded his work boots for a Bentley, thought I was a disappointment. My mother, Evelyn, with her charity gala smile, kept urging me to dress like a success. My brother Liam, 2 years older and obsessed with status, mocked my thrift store wardrobe and pathetic Honda. They lived in a Pacific Heights mansion, basking in their elite San Francisco circle, while I built next-gen innovations into a trillion-dollar empire under the alias Alex Vanguard. Why? Because I wanted to know if they'd ever see me for who I was, not what I owned. Tonight, at Victor's 65th birthday gala, I'd planned to show up in jeans and a sweater. One last test before revealing the truth. But now, soaked and bruised, I wasn't sure I'd make it to the party at all. The memory of my childhood kept me moving through the dark. We weren't always rich. Back in our Sacramento suburb, Dad worked 60-hour weeks at his struggling logistics firm. Mom stretched every dollar, and Sunday pizza nights were our sacred ritual. Dad used to say, "Character builds empires, not cash." But when I was 16, his company landed a massive government contract, and everything changed. We moved to a mansion with marble floors and gold-trimmed chandeliers. Dad's pickup became a Bentley. Mom's cozy dinners turned into catered soirees, and Liam ditched his skate buddies for yacht-owning trust fund kids. He'd lecture me. "Wealth isn't enough, Cass. You gotta show it. Cars, clothes, connections." Mom nodded along, gently pushing me to network with the right people, meaning rich people. I felt like a stranger in my own family, watching the values I loved, hard work, integrity, drowned in a sea of materialism. I chose UC Berkeley over Stanford, chasing my passion for computer science. Dad called it a wasted opportunity, but code was my sanctuary. Unlike people, code didn't judge your genes or your bank account. It just worked. Or it didn't. College was brutal. 2 jobs, endless coding, nights fueled by vending machine chips. My family saw my exhaustion and assumed I was failing. They didn't know I was building my first quantum encryption algorithm in a dorm room, surviving on instant noodles and dreams. My junior year changed everything. My algorithm won a DARPA competition, earning $500,000, 0 cents in seed funding. I poured it into NextGen, starting in a dingy Oakland apartment with a leaky roof and a mattress on the floor. Every cent went to server space and prototypes. I ate ramen for months, kept my family calls short, dodging their pitying questions. Still wearing those same old jeans. Liam would smirk during video calls. They make new clothes every year, you know. They didn't see NextGen growing into a 1,000-employee juggernaut, revolutionizing quantum AI with tech that could outsmart entire governments. My alias, Alex Vanguard, kept me safe from corporate spies and my family's judgment. 6 months ago, Dad's company started crumbling. A cyber attack, suspiciously targeted, crippled his logistics network, and mismanagement did the rest. I heard through industry whispers he was begging for investors. After sleepless nights and boardroom battles, NextGen acquired his company through a shadow corporation. The terms were generous, better than he'd get anywhere else. Just like that, I became his boss, and he didn't even know it. Every Sunday, I dragged myself to their mansion for dinner, swallowing their barbs. Dad would boast about his big deals, Mom would flaunt her latest Birkin bag, and Liam would roll his eyes at my practical car. "Cass, don't you think it's time for a makeover?" Mom would say, eyeing my wavy hair and minimal makeup. "I know a guy who can get you a real car," Dad would add, like my Honda was a personal insult. Liam's favorite line, "That sweater's so functional." They judged everyone through their gilded lens, blind to the empire I'd built. The gala invitation arrived last week, gold embossed, demanding black tie elegance. Liam's text was blunt. "Don't embarrass us with your usual rags. Dad's got major players coming." Sitting in my Sausalito loft, staring at the San Francisco skyline, I decided I'd had enough. I'd show up as me, jeans, silk shirt, no flash, just to see if they'd finally accept me. If not, I'd drop the Alex Vanguard bombshell and walk away. But now, stumbling through the Napa woods, my plan felt like a distant dream. My arms stung where the bullet grazed me. My clothes were soaked, and my phone was dead. The vineyard estate was close, its lights twinkling through the trees, but my attackers could still be out there. I crouched low, scanning the darkness. My mind raced. Was this about NextGen's quantum tech, a rival trying to steal my edge, or was it closer? Someone who'd uncovered my role in saving Dad's company? The mole Rachel warned me about could be anyone, even someone at the gala. I reached the vineyard's edge, the gallows music drifting through the air. Jazz, champagne flutes clinking, laughter from people who'd never know I'd just cheated death. My heart pounded as I slipped through the shadows, avoiding the valet stand where Porsches and Ferraris gleamed. The entrance was a spectacle. Crystal fountains, ice sculptures of Dad's company logo, floral arrangements that could bankrupt a small town. I hesitated, my damp clothes clinging to me, my hair a mess. For a moment, I wondered if I should have worn the damn gown just to avoid this fight. But no. This was about truth, not peace. I stepped forward, and the judgmental stares hit like a wave. 2 women in glittering dresses whispered behind their wine glasses, their eyes raking over my jeans. A tech bro in a bespoke suit did a double take, his smirk screaming, "Who let her in?" I squared my shoulders, refusing to flinch. Then I saw Liam, stationed at the entrance like a velvet rope tyrant, his $10,000 0-cents tuxedo screaming money, his face twisted in horror as he spotted me. "Cast, what the hell?" he hissed, storming over, his polished shoes clicking on the marble. "You look like you crawled out of a swamp. Are you trying to ruin Dad's night?" I glanced down at my soaked jeans, the tear in my sleeve, the mud on my sneakers. "Good to see you too, Liam. Rough drive over." "Rough drive?" His voice was a low growl, his blue eyes flashing. "This is a black tie gala, not a dive bar. Dad's got investors here. Billionaires, senators. You can't walk in like that." "My car got totaled, Liam. I'm lucky to be here at all." I kept my tone steady, but my hands shook with adrenaline. He crossed his arms, his diamond cufflinks glinting. "That's your problem. You knew the dress code." "This is deliberate, isn't it? Another one of your I'm above it all stunts." I stepped closer, my voice low. "Maybe it's about showing who I really am. Not everyone needs a tux to prove their worth." He laughed, bitter and sharp. "Worth? What, your little coding gigs? We're building empires here, Cass. You're an embarrassment." The words stung, but I'd heard worse. Before I could respond, Dad appeared, his silver hair perfect, his tuxedo screaming old money. His smile faded as he took in my appearance, his eyes narrowing with disappointment. "Cassandra, what is this? You're a mess." "Happy birthday, Dad," I said, forcing a smile. "Sorry I'm late. Had a bit of trouble on the way." "Trouble?" He gestured at my clothes, his voice tight. "This isn't trouble. It's disrespect. This is my biggest night. Investors, partners, the whole damn valley, and you show up like a homeless coder?" I swallowed the hurt, my voice steady. "I didn't realize family love came with a dress code." His face reddened, his jaw tight. "This isn't about love. It's about reputation. You think these people will take me seriously when my daughter looks like she's been dumpster diving?" "Enough," I snapped, my patience gone. "I'm here. I'm your daughter, and I'm not changing. Either I'm welcome or I'm not." The crowd around us went quiet, their eyes darting between us. Evelyn glided over, her emerald gown shimmering, her face a mask of concern. "Victor, what's going on?" She saw me and gasped. "Oh, Cass, sweetheart, what happened? We can find you something. Maybe a staff uniform?" Staff uniform. The final blow. My own mother thought a waiter's outfit was better than my truth. I shook my head, my voice cold. "I'm not changing. If you can't handle me like this, I'll leave." Dad's eyes flicked to the onlookers, calculating the damage. "Cassandra, be reasonable. This is my night. Come back when you're presentable." The rejection hit like a punch, but I'd prepared for it. "Happy birthday, Dad. Hope it's everything you wanted." I turned to go, my chest tight, when a voice stopped me cold. "Cassandra Thornton?" Marcus Reed, billionaire investor and NextGen's biggest backer, stood behind me, his tailored suit understated but impeccable. His gray eyes widened as he took in my state. "What the hell happened to you?" If I froze, Marcus knew me as Alex Vanguard, not Cass Thornton, the failure daughter. If he spoke now, my secret was done. "Marcus, Marcus Reed," Dad's voice boomed, his face lighting up as he pushed past me. "I've been trying to get a meeting with you for months. Welcome." Marcus ignored him, his eyes locked on me. "Cass, why are you out here looking like you fought a bear? And why is your family treating you like this?" Liam's jaw dropped. "You know her?" Marcus raised an eyebrow, his voice sharp. "Know her? She's the reason I'm here. Cassandra Thornton is Alex Vanguard, the founder of NextGen Innovations, the woman who built a $1 trillion empire from nothing." The silence was deafening. Dad's face went pale, Liam's eyes bulged, and Evelyn's hand flew to her mouth. The crowd murmured, the air electric with shock. I took a deep breath, my heart racing. The truth was out, and there was no going back. The wine cellar's cool, damp air clung to my skin as I faced my father, Victor Thornton, his tailored tuxedo a stark contrast to my mud-streaked jeans and torn silk shirt. The Napa Valley Gala hummed above us, a glittering facade of champagne and chandeliers. But down here, the truth was raw and jagged. Marcus Reed's bombshell had just shattered the room, revealing me, Cassandra Cass Thornton, as Alex Vanguard, the trillion-dollar founder of next-gen innovations and the secret savior of my father's failing logistics empire. Victor's face was a storm of emotions, disbelief, shame, and something sharper, betrayal. My heart pounded, still reeling from the sniper's bullet that had grazed my arm minutes ago on the balcony. Someone wanted me dead, and the list of suspects was growing longer than the guest list upstairs. Was it a corporate rival, a traitor within NextGen, or God forbid someone closer, someone who'd just learned I'd been pulling strings in their world all along? Victor paced the stone floor, his polished shoes echoing in the dim light of the cellar's single bulb. "Cassandra," he said, his voice low but trembling with barely contained anger. "How could you keep this from us? Years of lies, letting us think you were nothing." "Nothing?" I shot back, my voice sharper than I intended. The sting of his rejection at the gala's entrance still burned. Him barring me from my disrespectful attire, my mother suggesting I wear a staff uniform, my brother Liam's venomous disdain. You decided I was nothing, Dad. Every Sunday dinner you mocked my car, my clothes, my life. I'd built a trillion-dollar company from a dorm room, and you couldn't see past my jeans. His jaw tightened, his eyes flicking away. We were trying to help you, to push you to be better, to fit in with your world? I cut in, stepping closer, my sneakers squeaking on the damp stone. A world where a $10,000 0-cents tuxedo matters more than who I am? I saved your company, Dad. NextGen acquired Thornton Logistics to keep it from bankruptcy. I'm your boss, and you didn't even know it. The word boss hung between us like a guillotine. Victor stopped pacing, his face paling as if I'd slapped him. For a man who'd built his identity on control, this was a wound deeper than pride. "You bought my company?" he whispered, his voice cracking. "Through some shell corporation? Why, Cass? To humiliate me?" "No," my voice echoed off the wine barrels, raw with frustration. "To save it, to honor the man who taught me that character builds empires, not cash. I thought that man was still in there, somewhere." His silence was deafening, his eyes searching mine for something I couldn't name. Before he could respond, the cellar door creaked open and my mother, Evelyn, slipped inside, her emerald gown catching the light. Her face was pale, her eyes red from tears she'd tried to hide. "Cass, darling," she said, her voice trembling. "Is it true? All of it? NextGen, the acquisition? You're Alex Vanguard?" I nodded, my throat tight. "Yes, Mom. I've been Alex Vanguard for 7 years. I didn't tell you because I wanted you to love me for me, not for what I've built." Her hand flew to her mouth, stifling a sob. "We thought you were struggling. All those years, I pushed you to be more like Liam, to dress better, to network. I was wrong, Cass. So wrong." The apology caught me off guard, a crack in her polished socialized armor. I wanted to believe her, but the memory of her suggesting a staff uniform upstairs stung too much. "Would it have changed anything, Mom?" I asked softly. "If I'd shown up in a designer gown, would you have stopped judging me?" She flinched, her silence louder than words. The cellar felt smaller, the air heavier, as the weight of years of misunderstanding pressed down on us. Then a sharp buzz from my pocket broke the tension. My backup phone, the one I kept for emergencies, still functional despite the river plunge. The screen lit up with a text from Rachel Nguyen, my COO. "Mole confirmed. They're at the Gala, watch your back." My stomach dropped. The sniper, the drone in the garden, the car crash, they weren't random. Someone here among the glittering elite was targeting me. I glanced at Victor and Evelyn, their faces etched with guilt and confusion. Could they be involved? No, that was impossible. Wasn't it? But Liam's venom at the entrance, his obsession with status, could he have suspected my secret and sold me out? My mind spun with possibilities, each one darker than the last. "We need to get back upstairs," I said, my voice steady despite the panic rising in my chest. "This isn't over." Victor's brow furrowed. "What's not over?" "Cass, what's going on?" I hesitated, my instinct to protect them warring with the need to stay sharp. "Let's just say tonight's been more dangerous than I expected. Stay close and don't trust anyone." We climbed the cellar stairs, the Gala's jazz and laughter growing louder, a cruel contrast to the storm inside me. The ballroom was a sea of opulence, crystal chandeliers casting rainbows, ice sculptures dripping under warm lights, guests in gowns and tuxedos that cost more than most people's cars. But now, every face was a potential threat. Was it the tech bro who'd smirked at my jeans, the senator sipping champagne with a too-perfect smile, or someone closer, someone who'd known me my whole life? Liam was near the stage, his arm around a model-thin woman in a silver dress, his laughter forced as he worked the crowd. He spotted us, his eyes narrowing as they landed on me, then widening as he saw Marcus Reed at my side. Marcus, unfazed by the drama, guided me forward, his presence a shield against the whispers rippling through the room. "Cassandra Thornton, Alex Vanguard," he'd announced minutes ago, and the shock still hung in the air. Guests who'd ignored me now stared, their curiosity a mix of awe and calculation. "Cass," Liam called, striding over, his smile tight. "Didn't expect you back after, you know." He gestured at my torn clothes, his tone dripping with disdain, and with Marcus Reed no less, quite the plot twist. "Save it, Liam," I snapped, my patience razor thin. "You made it clear I wasn't welcome. Funny how you're all smiles now." His face darkened, his voice low. "You think you can waltz in here, play the secret billionaire card and humiliate us? You've been lying to us for years, Cass. Years!" "Humiliate you." I stepped closer, my voice a controlled burn. "You humiliated yourself, blocking me at the door like some nightclub bouncer. I built something real, Liam, while you were busy flashing your Rolex to impress people who don't care." Marcus cleared his throat, his calm authority cutting through the tension. "Liam, I'd tread carefully. Your sister's not just a billionaire. She's the one who saved your father's company. You might want to show some respect." Liam's jaw dropped, his eyes darting to Victor, who stood rigid, his face a mask of conflicted emotions. The crowd around us grew quieter, sensing the drama unfolding. Evelyn touched my arm, her voice soft. "Cass, please, let's not do this here." But it was too late. The truth was a wildfire, and I was done containing it. "No, Mom, we're doing this now. For years you all judged me, my clothes, my car, my life, because I didn't fit your idea of success. I wanted to know if you'd ever see me for me, and tonight you failed that test." Victor's voice was hoarse. "Cassandra, I didn't know. If you'd told us." "Told you?" I cut in, my voice rising. "So you could pat me on the head and take credit, or so Liam could leak it to his tabloid buddies to boost his ego?" I shot a glance at my brother, whose face twitched with guilt. Had I hit too close to home? Before he could respond, a waiter approached, balancing a tray of champagne flutes. "Drink, miss?" he asked, his eyes lingering on me a fraction too long. Something about his posture, the way his hand hovered over one glass, set off alarms in my head. I'd already dodged poison once tonight, spotting residue in a drink a guest had handed me. I waved him off, my pulse spiking. "No thanks." The waiter hesitated, then moved on, but I caught him glancing back, his expression unreadable. Was he the mole Rachel warned about? Or was I paranoid, seeing threats in every shadow? My phone buzzed again, another text from Rachel. "Security breach in next-gen servers. Someone's trying to download quantum protocols. Trace points to the vineyard." My blood ran cold. The quantum protocols were next-gen's crown jewel, the tech that made us untouchable. If they fell into the wrong hands, it could destabilize global markets, or worse. Someone here was orchestrating this, and they weren't just after me, they wanted my empire. I scanned the room, my eyes landing on a familiar face, Alina Voss, a rival tech CEO I'd outmaneuvered in a patent war last year. She stood by the bar, her red dress a stark contrast to her icy smile, her gaze locked on me. Had she ordered the hit, the drone, the sniper? "Yes, you okay?" Marcus asked, his hand on my elbow, his voice low. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "I'm fine," I lied, my mind racing. "But I need to check something. Stay with my family. Don't let them out of your sight." He nodded, his eyes sharp with understanding. "Be careful. This crowd's full of sharks." I slipped through the ballroom, weaving past guests who now whispered my name with reverence instead of scorn. The irony wasn't lost on me, but I didn't have time to savor it. I found a quiet alcove near the vineyard's wine-tasting room, pulling out my phone to access NextGen's encrypted network. The breach was real. Someone was siphoning data from our servers, and the IP trace led straight to this estate. My fingers flew across the screen, locking down the system, but not before a chilling message popped up. "You can't hide forever, Vanguard. We know who you are." My breath caught. They weren't just after the tech. They knew my identity. The alias I'd guarded for 7 years was unraveling, and the Gala was ground zero. I needed to find the mole, but every second in this room felt like a ticking bomb. I glanced back at the crowd, spotting Liam whispering to a man in a dark suit, his gestures furtive. My brother's earlier outburst accusing me of humiliating him flashed in my mind. Had he known more than he let on? Had he leaked my identity to the tabloids, or worse, to my enemies? Before I could move, a low hum cut through the air. A drone, its silhouette barely visible against the ballroom's high windows. My heart stopped. I dodged one in the garden, its tranquilizer dart missing me by inches. This one was different, larger, its red light pulsing like a heartbeat. Guests screamed as it dove toward me, a metallic glint suggesting something far deadlier than a dart. I sprinted for cover, diving behind a marble pillar as a small explosive detonated where I'd stood, shattering a crystal fountain into a million sparkling shards. Chaos erupted. Guests scattered, screaming, as security guards rushed in, their radios crackling. I stayed low, my arm throbbing where the sniper's bullet had grazed it, my mind racing. The drone wasn't random. It was targeting me, and someone in this room was controlling it. I scanned the crowd, my eyes locking on Alina Voss, who stood calm amidst the panic, her phone in hand, her lips curled in a faint smile. Was she the mastermind? Or was she a distraction, a red herring to throw me off? "Gus!" Victor's voice cut through the chaos. He pushed through the crowd, his face pale but determined, and grabbed my arm, pulling me behind a table. "What the hell is going on? Are you okay?" I stared at him, my father, the man who'd turned me away an hour ago for my inappropriate clothes. Now he was shielding me, his hands shaking. "I'm fine," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline. But someone's trying to kill me, and I need to know if you're involved." His eyes widened, hurt flashing across his face. "Involved? Cass, you're my daughter. I'd never—" "Then why's your company's collapse tied to a cyber attack that traces back to this Gala?" I demanded, my voice low but fierce. "Someone here is after me, and they know I'm Alex Vanguard." He shook his head, his voice hoarse. "I didn't know, Cass, I swear. If I'd known what you were, who you are—" His words trailed off as Liam appeared, his face flushed, his eyes wild. "Cass, what did you do? This chaos." "It's because of you, isn't it? You and your secrets." "Shut up, Liam," I snapped, my patience gone. "If you've got something to confess, now's the time. Did you leak my identity? Did you sell me out?" His mouth opened, then closed, his guilt palpable. Before he could answer, another explosion rocked the room. A second drone, this one crashing through a window, spraying glass and sparking flames. I tackled Victor to the ground, shielding him as debris rained down. My mind screamed, "This is personal. Someone wasn't just after Next Gen. They wanted to destroy me, and they didn't care who got hurt." Security swarmed, evacuating guests as flames licked the drapes. I pulled Victor to his feet, my eyes scanning for Evelyn. She was near the stage, frozen, her gown torn from the stampede. "Mom!" I shouted, pushing through the chaos to reach her. She clung to me, sobbing, as I guided her toward an exit. "Cass, I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "All these years I thought you needed fixing. I didn't see you." "Not now, Mom," I said, my tone gentle but firm. "We need to get out of here." But as we reached the exit, a figure blocked our path. Elena Voss, her red dress untouched by the chaos, her smile chilling. "Going somewhere, Vanguard?" she purred, her hand slipping into her clutch. I braced myself, expecting a weapon, but she pulled out a USB drive, dangling it like a taunt. "This has everything. Your protocols, your identity, your little family drama. Step aside or it goes public." My heart stopped. The protocols. If she had them, she could cripple Next Gen, expose me to every enemy I'd made, and destroy everything I'd built. "You're behind this," I said, my voice low, my body tense. "The car crash, the drone, the sniper." She laughed, a cold, sharp sound. "You're quick, but not quick enough. You should have stayed in the shadows, Cass. Now everyone knows who you are." Before I could respond, Marcus appeared, his face grim. "Elena, stand down. You don't want to cross Next Gen." Her smile didn't waver. "Oh, Marcus, you're so loyal, but you're backing the wrong horse. Cass's empire is crumbling as we speak." A scream cut through the air. "Evelyn!" pointing at the ceiling. Another drone, this one armed with a blinking device, was descending fast. I didn't think. I shoved Elena aside, grabbed the USB drive, and sprinted for the exit, dragging my family with me. The drone exploded behind us, the blast wave knocking us to the ground as flames roared through the ballroom. We stumbled into the vineyard's garden, coughing, the night air sharp against my skin. Victor held Evelyn, his face etched with fear and guilt. Liam stood apart, his eyes darting, his hands shaking. I clutched the USB drive, my mind racing. Was it real? A decoy? And who was Elena working with? The mole was still out there, and I was running out of time to find them. "Cass," Victor said, his voice raw, "I didn't know about any of this. Your company, the attacks. I thought you were just a failure." I finished, my voice soft but cutting. "You made that clear tonight. But I saved your company, Dad. I saved your legacy. And now I need you to trust me." He nodded, his eyes glistening. "I do. I'm sorry, Cass. I was wrong. Evelyn clung to my arm, her voice trembling. "We'll make this right, darling, whatever it takes." Liam said nothing, his silence a confession. I stared at him, the brother I'd once idolized, now a stranger consumed by envy. "Liam," I said, my voice cold. "If you're involved, I'll find out, and there'll be no coming back from that." He flinched, his eyes dropping to the ground. The Gala was in ruins, flames licking the vineyard's elegant facade, but I felt a strange calm. I'd survived 3 attempts on my life tonight, car crash, drone, sniper, and exposed my truth to a family that had never seen me. The USB drive burned in my hand, a key to answers or a Pandora's box. Elena was gone, vanished in the chaos, but her threat lingered. Someone was still out there, plotting my downfall, and I'd have to outsmart them all to survive. 3 months later, I stood on the balcony of Next Gen's San Francisco headquarters, the city skyline glittering below. The Gala had been a crucible, burning away the lies between me and my family. Victor now worked under me, his company thriving with Next Gen's innovations. He'd defended me at a dinner when a guest mocked my genes, a small but seismic shift. Evelyn had traded her socialite life for a tech non-profit inspired by my work. Liam, humbled by his failed tabloid leak, had come to me for startup advice, a fragile truce forming. The mole was still out there. Elena's USB drive had been a decoy, but the breach attempts hadn't stopped. I'd locked down next-gen systems, but the war was far from over. As I looked out at the city, my jeans and sweater a quiet rebellion against the world's expectations, I knew one thing. My worth wasn't in my wealth or my title. It was in my fight, my truth, my refusal to bend. The Gala had nearly killed me, but it had also set me free. Whoever was coming for me next would find a titan, not a target.